Hey everyone, welcome back to the homestead. I am Nadine. Today we are going back to the Rabbitry because I finished putting all of the new KW cages together and we're going to start switching the cages out. So let's get in there and show you what I'm working with right now. Alright, so these are the current cages. These are the ones that I made. I call them my DIY cages. And it's a bit messy in here. As you can see, some of the bunnies are quite literally ripping apart their cages. Huh, Miss Duchess? She ate a hole right through her divider. You're a little stinker, huh? They've also pulled off most of their door guards, with the exception of a few. So, things that I have to do in here before I can bring the new cages in. I already have a new one sitting here, but that's because there's nobody there. So, what I need to do is I need to remove the automatic watering system. So that's just cutting a bunch of the zip ties and removing the nipples from the cages. I also need to remove the hay feeders and the gravity grain feeders as well. That way we can put them on the new cages. And then we need to obviously take the bunnies out. We're going to put them in this temporary hold cage down here. And then we can remove the old cage, slide the new cage in, and start assembly of the new cages. So I'm gonna get you guys set up on the tripod, and then we will start with Miss Duchess's cage here, since she keeps wanting to eat through it. Hi, Duchess. She really is a sweetheart. A stinker, but a sweetheart. All right, let's get started, guys. Alrighty, guys, so I had some technical difficulty and the storage on my phone was completely maxed out and it wouldn't let me take any more videos, so I had to stop recording. And sorry, she just flopped over. Hi, Duchess. So anyway, I had to stop recording and I went through and I switched out a lot of these cages already. And Miss Duchess is in her new cage now, so there's no more her eating through it. I do have 2 more cages to switch out, so I am going to show you the process of me switching out the old cages for the new ones and kind of show you how that's going down in here. And yeah, so let me kind of walk you through what is happening today. So today we're going to be swapping out the buck cages. So these are my boys. And they're going to be getting some new cages today. So we need to remove their hay feeders, their gravity feeders, the waterers, and of course them. And bring in the new cages and reattach everything. So I'm going to show you how I get these off and give you the whole process, and then give you a tour of the Rabbitry with the new cages. Hi, Bam Bam. You ready for a new cage, buddy? I know you are, Cobalt. Alright, so we got the bucks out. Got Bam Bam over here and Cobalt in there. So now we're going to empty out the hay feeders and get those detached and work on getting this cage out of here. hay feeders and grain feeders are off. Now to pull the cage out. So we got the 2 new cages in. Now we just need to reattach the hay feeders, gravity feeders, and the waterers. We do have to cut a few wire pieces out to slip the gravity feeder into the cage, but we do not need to cut anything or replace siding for the hay feeders because these holes are twice the size as the ones I used on my DIY cages. So there's no need to cut for the hay feeders at all, which is really, really nice. So it is getting dark out here, so I apologize if the footage is awful from here on out. Like I said, it is dark and I'm working in very minimal lighting, so I'll do the best I can. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. I'm gonna go ahead and get started putting these finishing touches on the cages so I can get these bunnies put away for the night. So when I went to the bunny show, I got these new like resting mats. It helps protect their feet or give their feet a little bit of a break from the wire bottom cage. And I like how these ones have the tabs on both sides and then also has one in the middle to firmly secure it to the bottom of the cage. That way the bunnies can't flip it or move it around. And I got enough for each cage, so I got the blues for the bucks and I got purple for the doe. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in the cage now. Now we're gonna cut a hole out to fit the feeder in the side of the cage. Alrighty, so that is everybody. I just need to fill up the water cups and the hay feeders and they should be good, but everybody is officially moved in and happy to have new cages. So I'm gonna wait until morning to give you guys a tour of what everything looks like in here with all of the new cages because it is really dark and the lighting sucks. So I will see you guys in the morning. Good morning, everyone. And like I promised, I am back to give you guys a tour of the Rabbitry now that all of the cages have been replaced and show you how it looks like now. So here are the new cages all set up in the Rabbitry. Hi, babies. And these ones on this side. We do have some empty ones on the end still, but those are going to fill up pretty quickly. I absolutely love these KW cages. They are pricey, but they were worth every single penny because they have made such a huge difference in such a short amount of time. Yeah, I love them. So let me show you some of the features on these new cages and what I like about them so much. Okay, so one of the things that I like the most is that it is one latch to open and close the door. And the doors open to the left on both doors. So it makes for really easy watering. Since our automated water didn't work this winter, we had to revert to bowls. And in these new cages, the bowls are all set up on the same side. So when I'm holding a watering cup, it's easy to open the door with one hand, pour the water in with another, and close it back up. Easy peasy. So that's one of the things I am really enjoying right now. Huh, bowl. Another thing that I really like about these cages is they have a larger opening, so I can interact with the bunnies a little bit easier without having to open the cage. And I didn't have to cut anything for them to get to their hay. So that's something that the bunnies themselves are really liking.
Bunny.
Because since switching to these cages, I'm noticing that the hay feeders are emptying out a lot faster, which tells me that they're getting to their hay a lot easier than they were with the old cages, which is awesome. Something else that I'm really enjoying about these cages is how sturdy they are. In my other cages, their waterers were too heavy for the side wire, the hardware cloth that I had used. And so the waterers were drooping and they weren't able to hold the full amount of water. And they were resting on the floor and they were getting peed and pooped in, and it was just a mess. So this is amazing. They are held up off of the cage floor. They are sturdy. That's about as much as they wiggle, which is awesome. It allows me to get them on and off. Super easy. And so it's just making taking care of these guys a lot easier. Also, the feeders attached to the outside are very, very little wiggle room, whereas before there was a lot of play in the side walls of the cages. And these feeders and hay racks would wiggle a ton. Well, now they're much more secure. There is a little bit of wiggle, but not much. And these are firmly attached to the cage. They are not going anywhere, no matter how hard the bunnies mess with them. So that is wonderful. Another thing that's really great about these cages is I have big bunnies. This is Bam Bam. He is almost 13 pounds, and he is just a really big boy. The bottom cages I ordered in a slightly larger gauge wire for the bottom of the cages. There is very little play in the floor of their cages now, so they have much more support on their feet, and they're not having that wiggle. As you can see, I can barely move the bottom of the cage, which is fantastic. So they have a lot more support for their feet. Hi, buddy. And it's going to hold up a lot longer to my larger bunnies in here. Huh, Bam Bam. Yeah. And the other thing that I am enjoying, hi babies, now with these cages is I ordered these ones with the baby saving wire on the bottom, so that, I mean, obviously these guys are a lot bigger, but when babies are little, sometimes they can get dragged out of the box when they're nursing on mom. And with these larger cage openings, they could wiggle right through them and fall out of the cage entirely. So with the baby saver wire on the bottom, the openings are a lot smaller and there's no way for them to get out of the cage. So that is just a nice extra measure of protection for my babies and my bunnies. So that is a little tour of the Rabbitry with the new cages and what I am really liking about them so far. One thing I would have done a little bit differently when I ordered these cages is I would have ordered a few of them with a solid divider. So my cages have this wire divider, which is great because they can kind of interact with each other and be a little bit social. Hi, boys. But the problem with these wire dividers is when the boys get a little bit excited, they spray. And they can get each other really covered. Hi, boys. Really covered in urine. And not only is that really gross for the boys and can cause sickness, ear infections, and things like that, it can ruin their fur for show. So I think in the future, if I order cages for bucks in particular, I will get that solid divider. There is kind of a DIY fix, and I'm planning on doing that. So look for that in future videos, because I really don't want my bucks to continue peeing on each other. It's really gross. So we're gonna fix that here in the near future. But with all that being said, these cages are absolutely worth the investment if you're looking for a very high quality, semi pre-built cage for your bunnies. I highly recommend KW cages. They are wonderful. So that's going to wrap up this video for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. If you like my content, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, and make sure you hit that subscribe button on your way out. That will inform you when I upload any new videos, and it really helps my channel out. So thank you a bunch to all who are already subscribed, and to those who are newly subscribed. Thank you guys so much. And as always, remember to grow where you're planted.